Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Jennifer, I really love this visit to La Vega.
Yes.
And I am inspired.
It was a great idea for us to drive out. We decided to take a drive out.
Yep. You see beautiful lake in the back?
I really wanted some plants to do.
And I wanted a pot and some dirt.
To do a hedge, and La Vega has beautiful plants.
Yeah.
But in driving around, we realized this is the place to have our next, what we calling it? A friend circle. So could you imagine us gathered around this one, chatting, eating, playing games, singing.
Some good curry from a well-known caterer.
So, if you cannot make one new friend,
we will work on you.
In this friend circle that we're going to create, then
we will work on you.
We will ensure that you make a friend.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, and as usual with me is my colleague.
Hello and good evening. I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. Welcome to 5.8G Alive. How are you, Jennifer?
I am doing great, Terri-Ann, and just thankful and being blessed that, with the heavy downpour rain and the flood, etc., that at least I wasn't affected by the flood, but, I really feel it for all those who have been affected and have already cleaning up and has lost a lot of their belongings, etc. So, so I feel blessed in that way, and of course would love if I can help in any way. I would reach out. I have a friend who, suffered some flooding, and, if you could help for those who need the help, to reach out.
All kinds of things seem to be happening. And Jennifer, we have to give a special shout out to our dear Gael friends and say a special hello to Errol Fabian, who had a little vehicular accident, dislocated his shoulder. Thank God it was not a serious one. And within one day he was discharged and he's resting comfortably. So Errol, all the best from Connections 50 Plus.
We wish you a speedy recovery.
Absolutely. But Jennifer, we seem to be in a different time, all kinds of things are happening, apart from the floods and everything else. All the world seems to be shifting and shaking and causing distress in all kinds of ways.
Yes, we're all in a different mood, and unfortunately, to me, it's not a good mood. So this evening, we do not have a guest with us, but we want to chat a bit about this feeling, is what is happening. And Terri-Ann, you know what? We could do that in our In Tune segment.
Yeah, definitely. Right. So let's get a tune up.
Yes. Yes, Terri-Ann, I have felt the mood. When I about to say the mood in the country, but to me, the mood worldwide, because so many disasters, but getting back locally, Trinidad and Tobago. In recent times, we had, of course, the budget created a lot of stir. Let me say it mildly, a stir. But a lot of people have been complaining about the rising food prices and, and everything else. Nothing has gone down. and it has really made, increase our cost of living and have really put, I would say, a damp on our spirits because, we are going into the Christmas season, or we're in the Christmas season, I should say. And normally around this time, Terri-Ann, you don't even talk about you have no money. What you're talking about is looking for sale and whether you're buying the menu. You're looking to start buying your drinks to put aside. You're preparing everything, the parang going on, and you see, well, you have to put aside things for the lime and all that. So it is normally a lot of excitement and in the air, very, very happy to celebrate this season. We also have, coming prior to the Christmas season, we have the Diwali, which again is a sense of, you're looking forward for the celebration, etc. But the mood is not like that. It's not a mood that you want to celebrate. And that, I feel, is something we should chat about it, because I think it's important enough for us to look at how it's affecting, especially our cohort, because this is the 5-point HD show. And we are all about seeing how we could lift the spirits of our cohorts to make things better, to change that mindset. The reality is there, but that doesn't mean we have to allow it to get to us in a way that we just shut down and give up. Yeah. So I feel we should really chat and help us and help you all out there to change that mindset and get into that nice mood.
Yeah. Jennifer, I think as we said, all around the world, you look at the major there's a war going on. There's a war going on over yonder. There's a threat of nuclear deployment. It's a kind of background thing for us. The other neighbor who, when they sneeze, we catch the cold, the one right north of us in the Caribbean, they are going into midterm elections and they are tight. They are stretched. Those Democrats and Republicans are at it. And there's a whole lot. We recently had a hurricane passing through. And one of the things we have to remember too is that we are now coming out after 2 years of and especially for our cohort, we have lost a lot of family and friends. And for many of us, we are affected directly or indirectly by members of the family or the economic unit having been laid off, cut pay, lose job. And it seems, I think, that for many people, our cycle of bad times, good times, this downward thing going on a bit long. It is going on a bit long. And then you have in all jurisdictions a surge in violent crime. So people are not seeing a reason to be optimistic, happy. And I say that people, unfortunately, and this is not pointing fingers at anyone, human beings tend to exploit issues of the day to get you to focus where you want to focus. And I don't want to get into a media bashing kind of thing, but all media need to sell, and they sell with headlines. All agencies, whether you're church, political party, business, you need to get the public's attention to you. And it seems as though attention is most easily gained by a negative story. And we have such a wash of negativity, attack, complaint, just total stress. I mean, you look at BBC News, you look at CNN, you look at Al Jazeera, you see the same nonsense. You look at the local news, the same nonsense. So it is really very difficult to think that the sky is falling and you cannot or may not survive this period. It is plausible to think and understand why people seem to be as irritated and as agitated and as aggressive, negatively aggressive as they seem to be.
Unfortunately, to Terri-Ann, and you mentioned it, is that the situation, a lot of what is happening sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of what is happening is not in our control. And I'm talking about the bigger picture. However, the situation is being, especially the very negative ones, the high food prices, the price of gas, or think about money, is being exploited by those who feel they will benefit from it. So whether, as you say, whether it's on the political side, whether it is on the religious side, whatever, because each side, it's about maintaining control. All right. And one of the ways that you maintain that control is keeping people at a certain level of dissatisfaction.
Or fear.
Yeah, and fear, and I would say really fear, because that is that way they're looking for someone to reach out to. They're looking for that savior to reach out to. So whether that savior is in religion, whether that savior is in connections, and when I say connections, of course, I'm using the word connections, I shouldn't, but in terms of social standing or where you are, who you connected to, these are the people who seem to be the ones that could help you out, are the ones you may gravitate to or listen to. And from what I'm observing, those are the people helping to spread the
unrest,
doom and not giving, and not giving that hope or sharing practical, and I must say, practical solutions. So you would hear how the 1% are the ones who gaining and everything, and whoever running grocery, the business people there. The business people keeping us down because of the prices. The government don't care about the people because of the measures they implemented, all right? Some of the religious organizations, even the NGOs, only focusing on a certain group and not focusing on the real poor man. And so it's just a lot of negative talk coming from, and the average ordinary man who going through the pain, feeding off of these type of conversations and the news, because for them, it making them feel that okay, they now know what we're going through. They've been going through it for a while. So for me, we need to, for us here at Connections, and what I would like to, in terms of chatting here with you all, is to change that conversation, and I will say, Terri-Ann, and we all about energizing, motivating, looking for more of the solutions and not going down that road. It is there. We know that. We know the prices are high. We know things not easy. We're not agreeing with none of the measures that are in place actually. But what would we do? Complaining not going to make it work. All right? Having a partner next to you and going down the road, just knocking all that happening, not going to work. And you see at our stage, the 5.8G stage, at our age, adding stress onto our lives is not going to help. It brings on all the dormant type of illnesses was inside. So if you pro whatever, we in trouble. And this is what we have to be careful with. So I think I would suggest we are responsible now to make a difference in our quality of life, in spite of the high prices and all the other measures that putting us under that pressure. This is how I would say.
Yeah, and I so agree with you and Jennifer. And you know, we always talk about agency. One of the things we cannot lose is control of agency for ourselves. And I always say, when I say agency, you know, people, I have an agent. The agent fixing up my business for me. And you can't allow an external party to be the agent of how you feel. And I think that right now, we in the Caribbean and we in Trinidad and Caribbean listeners, you'll excuse me because I think what I'm about to say might be related to you no matter where you are. Every sphere of life seems to be extremely polarized. You're on this side or you're on that side. And the area in the middle is parched earth. You cannot go into the middle. And you are so entrenched in your side. And whether that side is race-based, whether that side is based on your choice of politics, whether it is based on your economic status, whether it is based on where you live, whether you're in the bad areas or the hot spots or a nice area, whether you're in the country or you're in the town, we have so polarized ourselves and gotten ourselves in camps and build all kind of wall and fortification, and we ready to pounce on everything that, you know, it's like you're at war. So that as we look at the situation, I think that sometimes we do not allow ourselves to sit back objectively and do the kind of reasoned assessments we need to do to allow us to decide how we go forward. Because if I am on this side of any of those fences, and I have an argument that you are to blame, if I say something that might infer, well, you know, things are not, in some areas, not as awful as we thought, I may be seen to be supporting the enemy. So I'm not going to say anything. Yeah. And if I see something that is moving in a certain direction and I see one little flaw, I will ignore everything about the direction that it is going in and focus on the one little flaw. So that it seems on every front, the negative debate and discussion and the attack is amplified, and it seems it's in no one's interest to do what we in our cohort know is the basis of common sense and good living, which is moderation. Plain, simple moderation. And I think it is so important for us to take a deep breath and pause and be honest and acknowledge what side you're on and all the divides, whether you're country, town, race, politics, wealth, up, down, in, out, straight, not straight, whichever letter you choose. Say, I am here. This is my stance. And we have to then, knowing this is my position, take an objective look at the field and say, okay, what's going on? Without being defensive. I am where I am. I am a Black 60-year-old woman living in Trinidad on a pension. That's a context.
Yeah.
I can look out at a non-Black person running a business, generating profits, living differently to me, and I can have a conversation with them. They don't have to be an enemy for me to have an argument. And I think we are being caught up in somebody else's war, and it's just creating a mess, Jennifer.
I have been listening to the talk shows and reading comments, etc. And as I said, they're all negative, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And those that make those people, especially who has an agenda and want to come across positive, instead of coming across positive, it's coming across with an attitude, a more like, this is what you should do sort of thing. And it coming across, you should do it because if you do it, it will help me. All right. I would say, Terri-Ann, and let me probably put it on my coach hat here, is that we, at this stage in our lives, have to be aware, again, you know where you are and where you want to go. My suggestion is you put on those blinkers to start with and not take on what the politicians doing, what things that we had no control over. And we have, and I shouldn't even say we have control. We have a choice when that time comes, right? We could exercise our choice. So if you don't agree with the measures that are in place, there's a time when you can do something about it. You can decide if you want that person to be the one representing you or not. All right, so you know that. And you have all right when that time comes to exercise that. So we know that. In the interim, we will know that, okay, can we do anything about, and I just use any gas prices because that is so much in the news now. Can we do anything about the gas prices right now? We could go on march, we could do all the things. Would it make any changes? If the answer is no, leave that alone. Right? If you cannot bring across about the changes, even if you go to march or whatever you do, then don't do it. If you feel it will make a difference, go right ahead. I'm just saying, this is to help you in terms of deciding the action, because you have to say what action and then know why you're taking the action. Because whatever decision you make is to make your life better, your family life better. All right? You're looking at your quality life, because some all the talk and everybody complaining, their complaint is it is affecting their quality of life and the future of their families. Okay? So to avoid the extra stress that we are putting on ourselves, we have to do some, as you say, introspection, breaking down. But more than ever, not get yourself involved in certain situations or conversations that not helping. I am here, you know, Terri-Ann, I listen to so many of the talk shows and complain, and I keep asking. Up to today, I was following a session and I keep asking, okay, where's the solution? It's the same thing. Where's the solution?
What's the point?
Right? If in union, the solution is to march. If you're not thinking the solution is to block the road. If you're not, but if you're blocking the road, whatever you decide to do, you should see an end result in it. You can't just do it temporary with the hope that you have to drill down. And this is what I'm not seeing, drill down. So if you want me to go and block the road, okay, because it's affecting my quality of life where I'm living, I will block the road. But then what? You have to tell me, when I block the road, why would I block the road? Is it because I want the next day for the road to be fixed? Is it because I am willing to get up early the next morning if they supply me with the asphalt and thing to put that in the hole, or am I just waiting for when I block the road that bam, the powers will become to fix it? You understand what I'm saying? So don't get me wrong. If you feel you have, but please plan it through to end result and be prepared. Yeah, be prepared. The end result, it may not end in the way you want it. Then what's your next step? How are you still going to survive if it doesn't happen? Somewhere along the line, I could be very wrong, but Terri-Ann, I'm not seeing that sort of behavior.
Reasonableness.
Say that let me tell you, if I have to do that, it's coming back to me. Because why am I doing it? Because I want a better quality life. Because I want when I drive out or when I take that taxi, that I could reach where I'm going and the taxi driver don't have to have a flat tire. You understand? Mm-hmm. But we all have to come together. If you come in together to protest, then let all of us have the same head while we protesting them.
We have to make sure that the person who is rabble rousing the protest understand what and
that's what I'm saying.
And make sure you're buying into those ends.
Because sometimes you go into it and the person who's influencing you is not about you and your quality of life. It's about proving to whoever that you might be a better whatever. You understand? Or they want to pressure a certain sector or whatever it is. We need to be careful. And I'm saying we, because it takes a lot of energy for our cohort to get involved in these things. And if you have to spend your energy doing that, then decide how you're going about it and be clear why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And if you have that clarity, then Terri-Ann, you would avoid all the noise, the negative noise that is happening right now in I would say in almost all quarters.
Yeah. Jennifer, you're very right. And there is another element that I am very concerned about, and we were talking about this today. You have the external people who are generating a lot of heat, and it's different kind of heat: white heat, hot heat, steam heat, fire heat, stone heat, vocal heat. But especially our cohort, there is increasing anxiety, there is increasing stress, there is increasing uncertainty. We are questioning our ability to move forward, to do the things that we had planned to do. A lot of us have come into this retirement and things have happened. Yeah. The children haven't gotten where we dreamed and thought they were. They got the degree, they come back and they're still sitting down inside by you and they have no hope of going because a basic house is $1.3 million and a lot of them are self-employed. Some of them, unfortunately, they got partners, they went off, they had children, it didn't work out, and they are back with us. Some of them are in the middle of the education or training process, and they're struggling, they're thinking, I can't do this, I want to stop, I want to give up. And yet again, some of them are just not finding their way. They're in what we call in subsistence jobs, where they can't see themselves moving and being able to acquire anything. And then so many of them are just at home without anything to do. And there is a tremendous amount of pressure that is on our cohort to and I think for some of us, we're getting this sense of we failed, we letting down the children, we letting down the spouse, we letting down ourselves, and we are bringing intense pressure to bear on ourselves. And I think, Jennifer, this is adding to our stress levels, and we know stress brings all kinds of things. And this Sunday, we've been talking about the need to reflect, the need to sit back, be still and give yourself a chance to look at where you are. And I think too many of us are looking with too short a time frame. So we comparing this year to last year, or the year before, or the year before. And I think that sometimes we have to use our wisdom that we've earned by becoming 50, 60, 70, and 80, to take a longer view, so that we see that we are in a crisis now, but who brings this sober mind to the crisis but us? And very often, yes, where you are now is not where you planned, where you hoped, where you dreamed. But I want to ask you, is it a crisis? It is not what you dreamed of. It is not what you hoped for. But if you sit and look at the situation, and I'm not denying that there are crises, I'm not denying that. But if we sit and look at this situation, is it really that all is lost? Or are we moping at our disappointments? Can we present the level head that can help the people around us, be it our children, be it a partner, be it a parent, be it a friend, to think through this thing in steps and see where something could be salvaged, something could be adjusted? And you know, Jennifer, we sometimes get into a lot of complaining. And I, as a practice, when I find myself complaining, I literally stop. And say, okay, before I give myself the right to complain, is there something that I need to be thankful about? Is there something I can say, all right, what's good? What has happened that is positive? But can't say good. Is there something positive, or is there something that is not negative that is going on, and balance? And sometimes I think, Jennifer, that we rush into the heat of what should be of our expectations and our wishes, and we forget to use our experience on our longer road to say, listen, where we are today is not where we thought we would be, but it is not where we were 10, 15, 20 years ago. And there needs to be a bit of gratitude to just take it down a little bit and put some soberness into the discussion of where life is now. I think that is missing.
Terri-Ann, I agree. And I must say, within a household, we are seen as the elders, as the wise ones, because we would have gone through a lot of experiences, depending on where you are between the age 50 and 80. Some of us who are the latest stages would have gone through a lot of recession, etc. For us who, like I said, for us, like myself, who had my mom, who is over 100, can share some stories, and you wonder when she share it and what they had to go through, and you're saying, and they survived well, and was still able to maybe achieve later on, but achieved goals and live the quality life today. Okay, So with that type of experience and knowing that, and this is not about, I'm not about looking at the measures and the harsh measures. They are there. They're there. We know that. The high prices, we know that. Okay. But we not knowing that, and it's happening, it's not that we will just close our eyes and say, okay, God, take me. I can't take it anymore. We have no choice. We are living it. Okay. So my again, I always believe, Terri-Ann, in conversation and in getting together. All right. So if you're in a household, we not include any friends and all these things here now, your household, because we have at this stage in our lives, we have the grands coming home, we have the elder children coming home, we have all people within the household, and they talk all around. If the radio is on, it's the negative. If they come home, it would be the complaint with the prices. If you come from the grocery, the market, whatever, it's always complaint. Taking time out and saying, this is not a meeting. I'm not looking at a meeting. I ain't even going down the road with family gathering again. You just take time out as I refrain as the elder, as the person in the house, as the 50 plus, whatever you want to call yourself, matriarch, the whatever. The fact is, you are the one there, whether you retired or not, whether money coming in or not, but you're looking to you for guidance, for you to give some sort of hope. All right. So whether it is through your praying all the time, whatever, they're looking for you for hope. My suggestion would be, we start with us, taking that responsibility, changing that conversation. And I agree with you, Terri. There's so much to be grateful for, just life, that you do a gratitude list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying you're not doing a list. You actually then talking about it. So when that person comes home, whoever it is, and will talk about how bad it is on the job, they hardly getting pay, whatever, your gratitude is at least they're working. At least you have a work to go to. At least you're bringing in some money. What we have to look at is how we can stretch that money, what we can do, understanding that this is the money coming into the house. All right? Look at ways that you could, because money seems to be like the only thing to make people happy. And when you check it out, it isn't. When people do it, it's like, oh, if I get more money, I'll be happy. If they give me a higher salary, I'll be happy. It's always about more salary, more money. I'll be happy. Let's change that conversation, especially if the money not coming in as you would like it to. Let's look at what we have and be grateful for it. That gratitude, let me tell you, that being just appreciative of things just immediately changes your mindset, you know? So start changing in that conversation needs to be changed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you're talking to the people in your house, start with you and the people in your house. Start with yourself. Anytime you go to complain about something, change it around.
And Jennifer, there's another thing. You see this thing called money? Money in and of itself is one of the least valuable things you can have. Stocks of money. So you had how much ever money in the bank, and now you don't have as much money in the bank.
Oh, you have none.
You don't have as much. If you have none, you're in a different situation. You don't have as much money in the bank. Let's start with this reflection by asking yourself, what did you do with the money? What did you do with the money? Because a lot of us get into a hustle and a bustle and a stress and a fret, and we don't take responsibility for the present. And taking responsibility could be a very positive thing. Taking responsibility doesn't mean that something went wrong. So I had X amount 4 years ago, and now I have 1/10 of that X amount. What did you do with the money? Was there a medical crisis and somebody is alive now or well because the money was used to address that? Did you have to do a major fix or a renovation or add an apartment for the daughter or the son or the grand or somebody? Did you have to use that money to help somebody finish a course or a program at school, or go and do some training? Did you have to take the money to donate or lend or give to somebody who was in a crisis? You know, this stock of money that has disappeared is one thing, and you could get very stressed about the fact that the money disappeared. But if you step back and say, okay, what did I do with the money? If somebody stole the money from you, you have ways of dealing with it. Now, if you look back and you see that, but wait, John is now finished his bakery course. Janet finished her design and drapery course. You'd realize that the money that you had was converted to something that will yield far more. If you didn't spend the money on that thing, you think you'd have more to complain about today? And I think this is a part of our being the experienced ones and taking responsibility. You don't have money, the money done. If the money finished because it was partied away, it was dressed away, you traveled and you did all kinds of things, then look in the mirror and say, well, I had a real good time. I had some beautiful clothes. I hope they still fit in. I had a wonderful experience. All right, I know where the money went. Now I have to contend with my fixed income, my pension, and those glory days are done because I can't afford to go forward anymore. So what do I switch to? Jennifer, I think people are not having constructive conversations.
They are not, and a lot of times too, being honest with themselves. And I'm laughing because, again, I listen to the news and I follow certain social media pages because I need to understand what's happening because of what we do. And Terri-Ann, a lot of habits, expensive habits, are not being cut back. And I'm talking about right now with all the prices increases. I saw one of the fast food places, I'm not going to cause any problem, increase their delivery service. All right? And it's a popular fast food service. And I'm seeing little complaints with people.
But still dialing in.
I have a friend whose son, as a sideline to the extra money, is do deliveries. And doing deliveries using her car. And she said, he was saying, oh gosh, with this happening, well, it's slowing down his little side business. She said, and slow down anyway. And I'm just sharing that because, again, it comes with the conversation within the home. It starts from there. Other situation that happened, and this is recent with all the budget and all the stories, and I'm relating because it relates back to us and our quality of life and where our money going. And we're not talking about the past. Yes, may spend bad or good or whatever. We're moving forward. This is now. We continue and we're moving forward in this time that we are in to see how best we could still live a good enough life. And this is in terms of a workman. I had to win some work. And then I had somebody else seeing about the gardening aspect of it. And that person, they heard when I asked that person to do something else for me. And he said, yeah, I could do that for you. I said, how much you charge me for that? He said, $50. And the other workman, after laugh, he said, you had to be crazy. I said, don't do it. What that $50? I said, listen to me. If 5 people ask him why he making his rounds with his gardening to do a little extra thing, and he say $50, multiply that and tell me how much you make with that. I say, while you would make a cent. Now, what I asked him to do is not much, but I can't do it. And $50 really was reasonable for me. And I think he knew that, because if he went any higher, I would have said, forget it. So I'm sharing this because the thinking has to be changed.
Yeah.
And we, as the adult, I made sure I explained to him and I broke it down. And he understood.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we are the ones to share that. And in the conversation home, we could observe how that money is being spent, knowing that no more coming in, and help guide by the conversation. Because I must admit, Terri-Ann, a lot of them do not know.
No,
They
they
didn't
don't.
go through this
They need
experience. They didn't
guidance.
have the experience. And to be in all honesty, they need that
And
guidance.
if
And
we get caught up in the
as
fire with them, what happened?
and we are the ones, so because let me tell you, that same person who ordering and paying the extra, complaining how they're not getting enough money, and they can't buy nothing, and how they will buy things, and how they could buy food and all that. They don't know, because that's all they know. And unfortunately, they have also trained their children in the same way. Remember, we're talking about 50 plus. So you have your adult and you have the grants. And that's what they know. So if we don't come in there with the conversation, then we have a problem. One other thing I want to say on that conversation, Terri-Ann, and I'm sharing this because I had that experience in growing up. If my dad was the one who was the breadwinner, and he would tell us, so if we ask for something and he can't get it, he wouldn't say, no, I don't have money. He would say, you see what you're asking for? That costing X. And that money, I need that money to go towards, well, we heard for about right through my life until I think my father bought the house when I was about 15, but I was coming down to the end. He was at that time over 60, right? But everybody had to, put up the head. So for all these years, we have been hearing, we cannot get X because that money going towards for his thing to get the house for us. And he would keep tabs and tell us when that time came and the down payment, we saw how it could work, but it could work. And I'm using the word sacrifice, which is a bad word these days. But we have to have a commitment in terms of what we want to achieve. But when you tell that person, so let me go back to the fast food service. If you have to say, well, it doesn't make sense at this stage when we're going through this rough period to order 3 times a week. Maybe if you order once, then the savings here can go towards X. And you have to show them how it could happen within maybe a year, maybe whatever, and you allocate what that money can go towards. That makes a difference, Terri-Ann, in the understanding and the willingness to give up that fast food, and I'm just using fast food for now, but you with me?
Yeah. And
I need to have that conversation and do it.
I would not use the word give up. Because I think that goes into the negativity of everything. I will just say, let's get conscious. Let's get conscious about the decisions we are making today and what is likely to happen. If you want to order delivery every single day, go ahead and do it. But understand, with fixed incomes, that decision is going to mean that something else will be affected. Is that what you want to do? So that when the thing that is affected happens, don't complain. You know why it has happened. And again, we're not trivializing the real stress that people are under.
No.
It is really for us as elders, as I said, do that exercise. Think about what is it that you are so frustrated about. Is it that you're frustrated that one of your dreams or goals is not being realized? Why not? Let's look back. Why not be honest and reflect, and then have a discussion with the people in your household to say, okay, we've done this for the past 10 years. We've continued doing this. The situation has changed now. How can we collectively move forward? What kind of adjustments we need? Because we can't move forward doing what we were doing before. You know, to do it.
I am probably a really hard taskmaster. I cannot have in my household living with me adults who I'm retired, so my money is really limited. Adults who it is very difficult for them out there. I am very, very harsh on that. In our discussion, you really have to make that commitment. And I know you say not give up, but that commitment to change your habits, to really address what you want, what type of quality life you want, to understand that it don't happen overnight.
Jennifer,
it will take some time. And if I am in charge and I am responsible, let's be serious about
Jennifer,
what you need to do.
That is perfect.
So that's me.
Well, I said that's me. Is that most people, and we would know it, we would say, when we look at our kids, when we look at young people, you see all the attitudes and all the privileges and all the rights and responsibilities and pleasures that they have, we give it to them.
Okay, but now it's time to change. We have to.
Jennifer, that is easier said than done, and coming from where you are, you'll put your foot down and you will say X, Y, and Z. But there are, I think the majority of the people are just not able to do it. And I think if you cannot draw that line, as Jennifer is saying, I think part of the issue is that we are avoiding responsibility. So I am saying, do a check. Do a check for yourself and see why you've come to where you are. Take responsibility for it. And then let's go moving forward. Because you have two routes to take. But sitting, and the point we are making in this discussion is sitting and grumbling and quarreling and the government, the opposition, the priest, the businessman, the 1%, the this one and that one, and the hotspot. That is taking us nowhere. It is making us crotchety, angry, and unhappy. We have to get real. We have to sit down and do an assessment of why we are, where we are, take responsibility, and then assess, what do I have the capacity to do moving forward? Be the grown-up in the room.
Terri-Ann, as the grown-up, as you say in the room, as the one that they would come to for support, or as the person they would come and cry on your shoulders because things hard, and they haven't on the same day, because the under 50s, the under 60s may not have experienced that, and we agree on that. So you, the experienced one, need to chat. We need to chat and say, okay, it may be hard, it may be difficult, it might, as we used to say long ago, it go through go in one ear and come out the next. But the fact is, where would be the pressure when that is happening? And as I said, the focus is only money, because they have learned that money will solve all situations.
Yeah.
All right, it will solve all situations. If we experience enough, we will know that is not true. Yes, money is needed, so we're not saying it's not needed, but there are other ways and things that can be done, starting with how you're thinking and the decisions that you make makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Because if you have 3 families and you give them each $10,000 every month, and this family are all equally same amount of everybody in the household, the same numbers in the household, etc., there would be a big difference. Over the years, you would see the difference in terms of the progress in one family as against the next. And it would not be because one had more money than the next. It will be the decision-making, the values, the attitude, all the things I can go on and on.
Yeah.
So we have to check ourselves with that. What really is the reason? And I'm not talking about growing up in poverty, and this is not it. I am saying if you compare 3 families, all of them the same amount in the household, right? Given the same amount of money every month, even within a year, sometimes not even a year, in 6 months, you can see the difference in what is happening.
Yeah.
All right.
The last thing I would want to say, and to add to that, there's another side of it. Yes, we have to guide the youth, but also we distract ourselves from our own nonsense by focusing on what they're doing.
Yeah.
When put the mirror up. What are you doing? Because based on what you do and how you handle stress and how you talk about problems, based on what you do, not what you say, they will follow. And I think that is something that we as the seniors need to really, really pay attention to.
And it's not too late, Terri-Ann.
It's
not too late. We have time.
It's a new situation, so you start something.
You have time and think about it. It could be we could go this for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, depending on where you are. You don't want to suffer throughout all these years. No. So we need to make the decision now as to how we're moving forward in the circumstances.
Yeah, it does. Great.
Friends, the big day is Friday, the 21st of October. Join us for some fun at La Vega Nature Park. Visit the garden center and shrines. The cost is only $200, includes transport, curry lunch, and refreshments. We would meet at the Grand Bazaar for 9 a.m. and leave La Vega at 4 p.m. So book early. Call Jennifer at 685-8834 or Terri-Ann at 682-9202. We look forward to liming with you. Bye.
So Jennifer, we as Connections 50, but everybody will know. We finish a whole series, we finish all kinds of things, and we're doing almost an hour our own talk about how we're supposed to lead and be the elders. So of course, we're not going to leave you in the lurch. We're going into a new series, which is addressing this issue. So Jennifer, what is this new series?
Yeah, because this issue is serious and we chatted with you, but you know, we always like to bring on the guests, our experts in the various areas, which should, you know, share with us, give us some guidance, some solutions. So it's not just about talk. So for the next few weeks, the next few sessions, we're going to bring on a lawyer to tell us about, you know, different ways or what we could put in place and to be to be aware of certain legal issues that will help us, you know, not just think about money, but how best we can put things in place.
To protect your money.
To protect, yes, and how best to protect your money. We would also have with us someone who, you know, an architect and building who understands about, you know, property and preserving your property and value of property, etc., because that is also critical. We are looking, in addition to having a banker who would really be able to give guidance now. We're talking about money and the little we have, how best
to afraid of the banks. Not to be afraid of the bank.
And especially now with you know, the online banking, etc., etc. But most of all, how best to us to have that money and use that money wisely. And to round off everything, of course, we always like to bring in a psychologist, because Terri-Ann and I spoke a lot to you about changing that mindset conversation. And I know some of you all might say we could say anything, but the psychologist would be the expert to say, well, how best to have that conversation and to prevent us from being more stressed. So that's how we have planned for you. So it's not just old talk. We really want to make that difference and for you to move forward and live the next 15, 20 years happy.
Yes, not with stress. So stay tuned. We're starting off a whole new series. We are the adults in the room, and we need some help. So see you next week when we start.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
+50 Tribe and followers from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.